Hello, one person. I have no idea who you are, but hi. Congratulations on being the first on this Sunday, and maybe the only. Who knows? Sorry for that scary sound. Extremely dangerous. Do not cut on an uneven surface into watery, slippery things. Do not do that. Okay. Hi y'all. Hi 18 people. I'm glad more of you have joined because I was about to just have a very intimate one-on-one with whoever was the first person who showed up, and I was fully ready for that, but I'm glad there's more of you. Now we can do group therapy instead of one-on-one therapy. Either way, welcome to Sunday. It is 2:34 p.m. I had a Twilight Zone moment right before going live where I gave myself 13 minutes to check up on how the newsletter that I sent out for Bell and Barrel this morning was doing, and then I got like really excited because we apparently just sold out of the thing that only got sent out at 11:30 3 hours ago. We sold out of it, and so I was like typing up all this stuff in our work Slack, and I was like, wow. And then Memo pooped, and unfortunately he had a bit of a runny poop, and he's been having weird issues this week. The boy might be getting sicker, which we have expected, but he's been throwing up a lot. Probably the heat didn't help, but his stools this week, sorry for the TMI, but for the cat owners out there who have any advice for me to make it more comfortable for him, his stool has been kind of tainted with just like a little drop of what looks like bloody mucus. It doesn't look like he's gushing blood, but it does look like there's a smidge of red mucus, which I'm guessing is some trace blood. So he has been eating for the most part. He's been motivated to jump up and down and be chased by me and follow me around and be cuddled, and so by all other means besides the increased vomiting and the blood tainted stools, he's still pretty normal in his behaviors with me as far as I can tell. But yeah, I thought I was so sorry for the circulatory talk, but I thought I was going to be late because I only gave myself 13 minutes, and then Memo pooped, and it was kind of a messy poop, and I wanted to clean it up before I went live. And so I was like sure that I was already 10 minutes late, but for some reason when I turned on my phone, it was like 2:30 exactly when this live was scheduled to go live, and I don't know how that happened. Did the time just kind of compress for me right there? No idea. Okay, but we're here. Hi. We're gonna cook today because we're in low 80s Fahrenheit degree weather today in New York City, and the next 2 days are going to slowly, or suddenly, climb back up to 89, 90 degrees. We're going to stay there for 2 to 3 days. We're going to come back down for 2 to 3 days, then we're going to go back up for 2 to 3 days. Anyway, today is cool enough for us to cook, so we will be cooking. I have made some tea for me to put in the fridge so I can stay hydrated without having to turn on the heat for the next 2 days. I love how this schizophrenic weather is making me think not too far ahead, but just ahead enough so that I'm prepped for myself and that I have nutritious food ready to eat. I'm happy to show you what I bought today, and just cook through my remaining tofu stuff. The 2 tofu products that I showed you last week that I didn't cook, I want to cook those today. I have some quinoa soaking on the stovetop right here that I want to make because I have some congee I want to eat, but besides the congee, which has mung beans and black rice in it, I haven't really been eating healthy starches. I've been eating a lot of pretzel, and I know you can see on top of my fridge, how do I point? There, corn checks, okay? So I've been eating a lot of processed starches. This thing, while delicious, cut up my gum so bad. This side of my face has just started to go down from the swelling of like a really intense bruise, or cut rather, that I gave myself on my gums. So that, I think that was God's way of telling me that like, yo, you need to chill on the packaged starches and like go back to making some whole grains. So I have my snackies because I do like the crunch. There's something very satisfying about eating crunchy, processed, chippy things. But I also have to get some good wholesome starches in the fridge so that I don't rely fully on processed starches just to satiate that part of my carb desirous drive. But let's drink some water. Very good. I haven't taken my psyllium husk supplement today yet, and I don't want a protein shake, but I think I'm gonna go for one. I was gonna blend up a pear with some water and the psyllium husk, or a smoothie, but I haven't eaten any protein yet today, so we might make a smoothie again, a protein smoothie. I bought some sunscreen on sale at Duane Reade. You might notice now, if you haven't noticed yet before this moment, that you are flipped again. You are being mirrored again, because I'm trying to work out the theory of why my phone is crashing beyond just, you know, it's reached its expiry date and tech giants want us to replace our gadgets. I have spent the last week deleting all the apps and disabling all the apps besides what I need to go live on this phone so that it is decluttered as much as possible. And I'm also thinking that the front camera doesn't focus and zoom as much. And I wonder if the constant focusing and zooming is also burning the phone out. So I figured by using the front camera, there's no zooming mechanism, there's no focusing mechanism. Sorry, not zoom, focus. There's no focusing mechanism that's burning the phone out. So I wanted to try to see if this is gonna leave the phone relatively unheated. So we'll see. And you're currently not plugged in. So at a certain point, I'll set a timer for probably 25 minutes and see how we're doing on the overheating. But I've been trying to figure out ways to, you know, keep going live without really complicating my life that much, and also not buying new electronics. But I found these at Duane Reade, not edible, just facial sunscreen. I think these were like on sale or on clearance for like $4.29 or $4.79 each, so I grabbed all three of them. The only active ingredient is zinc oxide, which you can't read unless you can read backwards and you can focus really tiny on the script. But I don't know if you guys have recommendations for sunscreen, but apparently mineral sunscreen is less bad for you in terms of like cancer risk, although chemical sunscreens don't leave a white tint as much. But I've been struggling with finding a sunscreen that works for me. I have a copper tone baby mineral sunscreen that goes on really thick, but like it's intense to wash off. I can't wash it off at the end of the night. I have to like soak myself up 3 times and then my skin feels raw. So then I just end up going to sleep with like this thin layer of sunscreen residue on my skin, which is tolerable but not ideal. But yep, that's all. As far as groceries, I got another head of purple cabbage. I really liked what we did in the Instant Pot last week, so I want to do that again. And I also bought a bag of grapes, not from the farmer's market, but just from my local grocery store. This was $1. Amazing, right? So I'm gonna wash these. We can eat some, but I'm gonna freeze most of them because frozen grapes on hot days, absolute godsend. They're like edible ice cubes that don't chip your tooth, especially because my freezer is weak as fuck. Nothing really stays frozen. And then I got some bitter melon because bitter melon doesn't require a lot of intensive washing, which I really didn't want to do today. I didn't feel like rinsing greens 3-4 times until all the grit is free. So oh my gosh, these smell a little bit like vitamins. Oh my gosh. Vegetal vitamins. I got 7 of these for $5. It was supposed to be $5.50, but the farmer was really nice. He always gives me like whatever change discount off of the, intended price, but this was $6 a pound, so I guess 7 of these was roughly a pound. Really lightweight. I've been really enjoying just chopping 1 or 2 of them up for lunch and mixing it with canned salmon and whatever else leftovers I got going on. They add a little bit of bitterness and crunch and refreshing, watery, injection. So we can rinse that off and leave it in the fridge for me to prep on the day of. I got 2 dino plums. I don't know why they call these dino plums, but they call these dino plums for $1. And then I got this really dimply peach for 32 cents. It was $1 a pound, and I just got one because all the other ones didn't look this weird, and I really wanted this weird peach. So that was my haul today. I have a lot of jars of congee to eat because these have been cooked for a week, and I'm worried that they're gonna start rotting because beans don't keep for that long, and actually a week is already pushing it. So I'm just gonna snack on a couple of jars of cold congee while we cook, and maybe make that shake. But if you're staying tuned, we're gonna be cooking tofu, blanching it, saucing it, leaving it as is. We're gonna be cooking the soy chicken nuggets. I don't know what flavorings yet, but probably with some of the leeks that we still have from last week. And then I'll throw the rest of the leeks into the Instant Pot with our purple cabbage, and then we'll just make a big mash of purple cabbage so that I can just keep eating it throughout the week. That's it. That's what we plan on cooking. Okay. Let me read some of your comments. Yeah, the Pompona vanilla is super rare. If you read the newsletter, you can learn more about it. But basically, most of the vanilla on the market is hand pollinated. And apparently, really skilled farmers can pollinate over 1,000 pods a day. But vanilla is the edible fruit of an orchid flower. And orchid flowers don't always produce edible fruit. I think vanilla might be the only edible fruit that orchid flowers produce. And the flowers contain both the female and the male organs, but they don't like pollinate themselves. So you have to like make them have sex with themselves. It's weird. Pompona vanilla, on the other hand, and I believe Burlap and Barrels comes from the Peruvian Amazon. They are pollinated by one singular species of bee, and it's this just one species of insect, this bee, that pollinates Pompona vanilla. So this is like one of the world's foraged vanillas, as opposed to cultivated and hand pollinated and farmed. So it's very rare. I think we got like 120 of them in, and by the time the newsletter sent out, there was only 106. I said in the newsletter that we only had 100, which, it went in under 3 hours. So the demand is high, but we have lots of other Pompona products if you're interested in trying the flavor. We have chopped up pods for your own extract kit, and we have some powders, but yeah, the Pompona vanilla. I actually have an old pod. It's a little dry, but I'll show you if you want to look. So it comes in this bamboo container, and then it comes in a Ziploc bag like this, and it's a little brittle. Like, I already broke it in half by accident, but yeah, it's huge. This is one bean, one bean the size of my hand, all the way from the tip of my middle finger to this part of my palm. And I know I'm a woman, but like I have pretty big hands. So do I have my ruler here? So this is part of what is like visually setting it apart. It's just like it's chonky. This one is about 6 inches, and then it's like 3/4 of an inch across. So it's a fat variety of vanilla. And yeah, like it's very potent. There's a slight bitter undertone to it, kind of like dark chocolate, dried cherry tannins, dark rum, I think is in the tasting notes. It's got that like very mature kind of adult flavor vibe of just this like intense rummy brandy that you sit down in front of the fireplace with. It feels a little bit like the vanilla version of our smoked honey. So yeah, I had that since last year because I had to write a newsletter and we didn't have a product photo for it, so I had to take a photo of it, so I had to order it, and it was like, it's just been sitting there. I don't know, I don't really use vanilla, honestly. I'm a cinnamon girl, but yeah, if any of you visit New York City and you want to get your hands on an extremely rare Pomona vanilla pod that's somewhat desiccated but still flavorful, reach out. I'll give it to you. Lemon balm tea. I love lemon balm. I love smelling it. I like drinking it. It looks beautiful. I came into knowledge of lemon balm when I went to farm school, and everybody was like, yeah, my favorite thing is lemon balm. And I was like, what the fuck is lemon balm? But it's in the mint family, I believe. It smells lemony. It's very soothing for the lungs and potentially other parts of your body. I think everybody likes it for its medicinal purposes, but it's also very refreshing and delicious and lemony as well on top of that. So Nivea Invisible Spray Sunscreen. I know everybody is on the spray sunscreen trend. Are we still not okay with aerosol cans? Like, are those still very bad for the environment? This is another reason why I don't buy like the spray oils either, because I feel like the spray oils would be very conducive to me lowering my cholesterol, but like I don't want to buy the canisters. Are those still bad for the ozone, or has that been debunked? I don't know. I'm sitting with like 2-decade-old knowledge here of taboo things to buy, so I don't know if it's accurate anymore. You hear chemical sunscreens are fine as long as they're not expired. Expired? Why would that make them poisonous? That sounds like industry bullshit, if you ask me. Zinc sunscreen. Yeah, the sunscreens, these are 19.5% zinc. Hold on, let me show you the other sunscreen I've been using. So yeah, I've been using this on my body. It's Copper Tone Pure 50 SPF, 100% mineral. This is 24% zinc. So this one is actually a little bit less, which I guess makes sense because it's only SPF 30. But this is made for the face, so I guess a little bit less intense. IDK, guys. I really don't know. Whatever. We're all gonna die. Also, applying sunscreen on my ears, I always forget that. And then my ears and like this part of my face that's not covered by my mask gets extra itchy and burnt. Yep. Brimmed hat, clothing. Clothing is a big one. Sometimes in the summer I just want to like show some skin. I don't want to be covered by cloth, but you're right. Maybe it's time to cover up. Highland Island. Hello, San Jose. think all vanilla is the fruit of orchids, indeed. And yeah, we, like Eliza, vanilla pod selling out. We try not to, you know, only have 100 of something in stock because inevitably they sell out, especially if it's like a highly sought after rare item or a collaboration thing that's very seasonal and limited. We usually try to have at least 200, ideally 300, sometimes 400 in stock. But because this is a forged item, it's just not really up to us, I guess, how many we bring in. Also, it is very, very, very expensive. So it's good to know though, because last year I think it sold out quite quickly too. Yes, I guess people love vanilla, so. Once you borrowed a friend's spray sunscreen and the rash ended up spreading under my thick clothing to where it hadn't been exposed to the sun. Wait, what? Did the sunscreen make the rash spread? Sorry, my brain's really struggling these days. You're gonna have to have extra patience with me thinking things out loud. Wow, okay. Yeah, I also don't like the idea of spraying I feel like I'm gonna like inhale some of it in my nose, you know, or like in my eyeballs. But I don't know, I've never used it. I'm just prejudiced against something I have never used. So what am I doing anyway? Oh, I also bought raspberries yesterday. We could eat those. It looks like the olives that I bought might have started molding. Do olives mold? These do look like they're molding though. That's sad. I'm gonna have to throw these out. That's a bummer. Man, I thought they were cured. That's sad. This is mold, right? You see them? Damn. Is it mold or is it just salt crystals? I'm confused. Humph. Okay. Another confession for this week is that I went out to a friend who was visiting New York City and I ate meat. I ate some pork belly, which is like possibly the worst meat to eat when I'm on my cholesterol experiment, but they couldn't finish the food and I wasn't about to let it go to waste. They are 2 weeks old, the olives. I mean, they smell like olives, but I don't think you can smell mold, honestly. They still smell like olives. Could it be hardened oil? I don't know, guys. Like, look. It looks like mold, you know? I'm not gonna fuck with it. I'm not gonna fuck with it because my body is already, like, so decrepit. So I'm gonna use my gut instinct. And my gut instinct is saying chuck it. So just listen to your gut instinct. I'm so sorry, olives. And these were the expensive olives too. This is another lesson for me. I ate the cheap olives first, even though I like the expensive olives more. And guess what happened? They fucking went bad. The last time something like this happened, I bought natto from Japan. I saved it and saved it and saved it, and like 2 months later, they were moldy when I opened them up. When am I gonna learn my lesson? I don't know, man. Sucks. Okay, here's a pop quiz. Does anybody remember what I did last week with the cabbage in the Instant Pot? Because I want to like replicate it, but I don't even remember what I did. So help. What did I put in there? I think we put some spicy chili oil, right? And then did we put some hoisin sauce? Hoisin sauce, maybe? I'm gonna need the gochujang for the tofu, that's for sure. Oh, ginger. Damn it, I don't got ginger anymore. Dang it. I knew I should have bought some, but I didn't. Oh, and I also have this salmon to eat, and I have our pickled okra to try. Great. Well, I guess in a pinch we will use dry ginger. Okay, sorry for the chaos. We're gonna put some food into our bodies right now with congee, which smells great, not spoiled yet. Yes, we put in celery. But I unfortunately do not have celery this week, so it'll just be all cabbage, which will be a little bit flatter, but so it goes. Yes, Meg, you are absolutely right. I did make my own natto. My friend Daisuke sent me like a recipe. The first time I made it, it was like not natto. The second time I made it, it was more natto. So everything just takes practice. Alrighty then. Let's plug in our Instant Pot. How exciting, how exciting. Let's move our peaches out of the way so we don't cook it with our Instant Pot heat. Everything's so precarious. Okay. I'm gonna throw the bitter melon into our wash basin. I was really bummed. I was really hoping to find shiso at the farmer's market today, but I guess I went a little too late and it was all sold out. I was really looking forward to eating my tofu stuff with shiso. I gotta say, like, things are from a specific culture for a reason, because, like, the tofu and shiso and gochujang combo just works so well. And I don't know if it's because my brain's been primed for Korean flavors and pairings like that, but like shiso perilla with gochujang and sesame oil with tofu, so good. I don't know why it's so good, but it is. So we're gonna do a little cabbage in here and a little bit of our washed leeks. Maybe all of our washed leeks, who knows? Just gonna be chopping. If anybody really wants to understand how fucked our institutions and systematic, or systematic and systemic, I guess, inequalities are, I've been listening to this podcast called Death Panel. I don't know if any of you have listened to it, heard of it, but I've really been enjoying the conversations on there. I'm usually not a podcast person. They can make me like irrationally annoyed sometimes. But I have enjoyed pretty much all the episodes of Death Panel that I listened to, which is maybe like 3 or 4 so far. They talk about a lot of like what they call health communism, which is very much what we don't have right now in the US, which leads to, unfortunately, a lot of social ills and sadness and brokenness, and death. So that's my media recommendation. Another recommendation, that was our 30-minute timer. Let me see how our battery's doing. 64%. I'm gonna try to go another 25 minutes without plugging you in. We'll see. Another media recommendation that I have is my friend Dice K was talking to me yesterday about this Japanese movie called Afterlife. And I checked it out, and I really enjoyed watching it. It's a very chill movie. There's like a little bit of, you know, emotional drama within, but it's like not something super turbulent. The premise of it is very fascinating, which is basically after you die, you are tasked with an assignment, of choosing one moment from your life to keep, and to take with you as you move into your next stage of life, which we're not really sure what that is. But basically, you forget everything except this one memory that you choose to take with you, which is a very interesting thought experiment. So again, that's a Japanese movie called Afterlife, and I really enjoyed that. Have you listened to anything or watched anything that you really enjoyed lately? Or read? Wow, I'm really bad at cutting today. Horrible. I also just learned that apparently Burlap and Barrel has already paid $100,000 in tariffs. Yo, that's a lot. And that's not even like the final tariffs yet, so who knows, man. Anyway, get your spices while we can still import them, because who knows what's gonna happen. $100,000 in extra tariffs is a lot for a small company. We have like 20 to 23, 24 employees, most of whom are part-time. And we don't have a physical office, so we can cut down on a lot of overhead costs, but like $100K is a lot. So Yeah. Yeah. TBD on whether I'll have a job. Poker Face. I've never heard of that show. Wait, I need to go back up and read some comments. Sorry, I'm so distracted, but I want to see what you're saying. Oh yeah, I didn't spend $50 on the olives. That container was maybe like 2 something. It's fine. I waste 2 something on Memo's food that he doesn't eat like every day, so I can afford to waste a $2 something container of olives once in a while for myself. Hoisin, leeks, ginger, celery, maybe dill. Oh, you're right, dill. Guys, your memories are so good. I'm gonna put some rosemary in this batch too, because apparently rosemary is like really good for mental health, or like preventing Alzheimer's or some shit like that. I mean, obviously not in the amount that I'm gonna eat it in, but my red sauerkraut I ate a long time ago. I'm not gonna attempt to make sauerkraut again because it's very high in sodium, so I don't think it's like a sustainable thing for me. But I really enjoyed the sauerkraut, for sure. Gochujang. Oh yeah, they're cutting funding for PBS and NPR. Daisuke told me this yesterday too. And apparently NPR and PBS are like already starting to go more moderate, or like, you know, right in their messaging. Just really neutrally addressing some of the stuff that the Trump administration is doing, which is, I mean, if that's what it's going to take for institutions to stay alive, I see this happening at my college too. You know, that maybe they should die. Maybe it's time. And then we'll just have to see what happens in the new age. We'll have to see what we are ready to do. And if we're not ready to do anything to actually take on the responsibility of living in a democracy, then we reap what we sow, right? We always claim this pride in living in democracy, but how many of us are doing the work? I mean, I certainly haven't been. So I guess maybe we do get what we deserve. I think I want a little bit of balsamic vinegar in here. Oh, and did I also put some plum wine? Yes, let's get rid of that plum wine. Let's finish it. The last bit of this plum wine. Normally I would eat this, but sometimes it's very bitter, so I'm just gonna compost it. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this much of the new cabbage, and we're gonna have to cook the old cabbage first. First in, first out. Time for leeks. A little more rosemary, some ginger, a little bit of smoked paprika, wow, that smoked paprika smells so good. It smells like I put a ham hock in just now. I swear that is amazing for vegetarians. I'm gonna do a little black white garlic mixture in here. Pull this up. This is our adjustable grinder. You can do a fine grind, pressed down, or you can pull it up with a coarser grind, which I want. Unfortunately, it is plastic construction, so yes, I am probably eating microplastics. However, I have reached the stage where I'm just like all in, you know? We're not gonna escape plastic, so just all in. Just eat it. Become plastic, evolve. If you make it, congratulations. If you don't, probably for the best too, because you know, what else is this shit show gonna turn into soon? Who knows? Who knows? I did see this pepper mill go on Kickstarter. It's like funded 2,000% already. It's like $118 for one pepper mill, and I'm like, huh? Like, people still have that kind of money? Cumin and coriander. And a little extra coriander because I smelled it coming out of the pepper mill just now, and I wanted more of the coriander vibe. Okay, now we're gonna go in with some balsamic. That was maybe 2.5 tablespoons. And then I'm gonna give this a little shake and jostle. Have everything mix and settle a little bit so I can add even more cabbage in here. Gotta shake it now because as I pack it even in more, then probably can't tousle it as much. Okay, hoisin chili oil. That was probably 2.5 tablespoons of chili oil as well. Delicious, amazing. Some expired hoisin. Mostly sugar. It's basically like Chinese barbecue sauce, if you want to think about it that way. And instead of gochujang, I'm going to use this also expired chili oil crisp that is mostly crisp and not oil. The oil came from this Burlap and Barrel collab, which is at least half oil, and so it's been really delicious to use this in cooking. This one has more of like a soy umami spice to it. Whoa, that is way too much. Why did I say that much? Okay. All right. Let's give this sludgy deliciousness a mix. What else can I put in here? Well, we got rosemary and balsamic, so we got kind of like a little Italian flair on the Asian condiments this time. Very fun. I think it's very fun. Maybe it's time for me to stop putting things in there, but I'm just gonna take one more look to see if there are things I want to put in there. Okay. Well, the plastic grinder comes technically free as a part of the spice, so we can't really afford a metal construction grinder to give to you for free. But I would love to see Burlap and Barrel make a metal grinder. That would be amazing. I just got water on my laptop. That's not good. Not the prettiest recipe, but you can chop the not nice leaves. Oh, the not nice leaves are going into the Instant-Pot, don't worry. But thank you. Apple onion vinegar and half a teaspoon salt and lemon. Yum. Margaret Atwood short story recommendations. Sweet, sweet. It's difficult to be proactive when you have to work to afford to live, though. I agree. And that's why I really enjoy listening to Death Panel. I'm not as much as I sounded really cynical and bitter about it, which I am. I'm not placing the blame on individuals for not being a part of democracy. I understand there's a lot of barriers to entry and like obstacles to even having any free time for rest, never mind participation in the political realm, but that's by design too. So I just need people to admit that they don't actually live in a democracy, rather than keeping up this propaganda fantasy that we do live in a democracy, because clearly we don't. There's all sorts of, hurdles put in the way of folks trying to participate in democracy that just they are not able to gain access to. So it's kind of like my whole deal with Swarthmore College right now is like they keep advertising themselves as this college that's very focused on social justice and movement and, like, you know, being on the right side of history and being the good guys and being the production house of future good guys who can go out into the world and do great things and fix all of us. But that's very much not the case right now. So I don't really hope for Swarthmore to be better as an institution, because I know everything is tied to capital. And I know that everything is tied to the endowment that they have, and that the endowment relies on investments in business interests that are killing people and expanding in land in Israel and all of that shit. I just want to do my most to completely debilitate their ability to say that they stand for social justice when it's very clear that they don't, right? I don't want them to be able to continue advertising themselves off of the fantasy of being a good guy when they're very much profiting off of killing the good guys and the everybody's. So they may say that, well, we have to keep our endowment up in order to provide, you know, education for everyone and to provide, you know, tuition funding for all of our low-income, high-need students. But I'm just like, okay, yeah, but at what cost? If your students are demanding that you divest from Israel because Israel's killing people, and they're asking you to divest from systems that are contributing to weapons manufacturing and, you know, tech surveillance that contributes to killing people, that are being used and deployed to killing people, like, what does it matter that you're educating people while you're participating in the act of killing of people? Like, let's keep people alive first and then worry about educating them, rather than educating the ones who are alive while killing the others, and then saying that they're not allowed to speak out for these people who are being killed. Like, what is this priority of needs right here? That's all, like, so fucked up. And this is very much the same kind of project that Writers Against the War on Gaza, WAWAG, if you're on Instagram, is doing against the New York Times too. Is like trying to kind of unmask this propaganda machine that the New York Times is, you know, and trying to discourage people from paying for New York Times subscriptions, because the New York Times is just like, they keep spewing all of these headlines that slowly make you think that there is nothing wrong going on, or that, you know, if there is, then, like, certainly we're not involved in it. Where the New York Times owns a fucking house in Jerusalem. I just learned that this week. Like, isn't that wild? Why would they own a house in Jerusalem? Like, what? So my point is, I understand people are going to do bad things, but I just don't want them to get away with lying about doing bad things. If you're going to do bad things, then just do the bad things. And if I can't do anything to stop you from doing the bad things, then I'm going to try to stop you from lying about doing the bad things, at least. I remember when my mom passed away, Eliza, thank you Eliza, made a donation to PEN America, like in honor of my mom, because my mom had worked on a newspaper and my mom was like constantly getting blacklisted for writing stuff about China, and my mom was very concerned about like preserving the freedom of speech and press and all of that. And so Eliza made a donation to PEN America in honor of my mom after my mom passed. And it just came out during this whole genocide that like PEN America is very much also anti-Palestine and possibly Zionist, because they invited Zionist speakers in the past 2 years despite many calls for them to not host these speakers. It's just, we're witnessing the downfall of institution right now, and I think as we experience all of these realities, these painful realities, we need to start deconstructing the fantasy of what these institutions stand for in our heads that has been with us our entire lives. Some people are more perceptive. I didn't know the New York Times was this biased until the last few years. So down comes prestige, and then we make of the blankness what we will of it. Our battery power is at 45%, which is very promising. I think that this front camera thing is working in terms of not draining us so quickly. So hopefully I can preserve this stream on this phone a little while longer. Oh my god. Leaf blower? For reals? Why? God, I hate noise. There's not even any leaves outside right now. It's not even autumn yet. I think leaf blowers should be illegal. And I actually think in some parts they are. And I think that should be in more parts. Fucking hate them. A moment of appreciation for the cabbage swirls. That's a nice jingle. We are past capacity on this Instant Pot, so let me try to shake it and condense it. Shake it and condense it. What else do we want to put on top here? Ooh, a little bit of sesame oil, maybe. Okay. And then I feel like we need some extra spices on top. But maybe we don't. But maybe we do. But maybe I'll just put a little bit of seaweed on top so that the salt can rain down. Which is something that I wanted to do last week that I did not get to do. you, seaweed? Ta-da! Seaweed. Okay, it's got Japanese all over, but it's fucking product of China. Look at that. Look at these lies. Look at these lies. One tablespoon is 17% of sodium. Okay, that should be salty enough then. So many lies in our lives. It is going into the Instant Pot. Any last requests? Too late. 20 minutes of pressure. I don't think that's necessary. Let's do 16 minutes of pressure. And let's do a little bit of congee drinking. Cabbage, a little plum wine, a little balsamic, cumin, coriander, white pepper, black pepper, hoisin, 2 kinds of chili oil crisps, seaweed, leeks, smoked paprika, and ground ginger. I'm technically not vegan because I've been eating yogurt and cottage cheese on the lower fat, reduced fat spectrum, and just this week I had to go out to lunch with a friend who was visiting New York City, and they couldn't finish their pork belly stir fry, so I finished it for them. So I broke my cholesterol experiment a little bit, but we're back on track. You know, 1 or 2 exceptions is not going to make or break the pattern of me generally decreasing. I'm still cheese free. Yes, I had some cottage cheese, but I haven't had, like, you know, Parmesan, cheddar, mozzarella. Every time I go into the store, my brain just goes to the deli case and it's like, cheese. Turns into Homer Simpson with cheese. On the most part, I've been cheese free. I've been mostly meat free. I've been eating canned fish. And I've probably halved my nut intake, which is probably going to be pretty significant too. It's a little bit of why I've been buying like corn checks and pretzels, even though I don't think processed carbs are any better for you health-wise. I do think that I just needed a little bit more diversity in my diet, and I was relying on nuts for all snacks, and nuts are very heavy in fats, which can probably contribute to the buildup of cholesterol, especially because I've not been active. So just balancing everything out a little bit and trying not to rely too heavily on any one food item for satiation. Hi, Koreatown. I don't think it's ceramic, unfortunately. I feel like ceramic might be really expensive, no? Anyway. Oh no, I missed out on your caraway seeds recommendation, dang. Next time, or I'll add it in when I eat it. Or we can add it in when we open this up. I think this might be out of stock, King Caraway right now. Hopefully we'll get it back in stock soon. Let me fact check myself. Burlap and barrel. But These are some of the most delicious caraway seeds I've eaten. These are from Egypt, the same place where we get our hibiscus. Caraway. Are we out of stock? Are we out of stock? Yep, we're out of stock. But yeah, very fresh, very nutty, super digestive, like feeling, you know how when you eat fennel seeds, they feel like digestives? These feel very, oh my god. These remind me of like the most delicious fresh pumpernickel bread. The moment I smell them, holy shit. Okay. Yeah, I love caraway seeds. I don't think I ever grew up with caraway seeds, but I've learned to really love them. I love caraway. I love seeded caraway rye bread. Caroline says, love the smell of freshly cut cabbage. Does anyone smell the stuff if you see and hear it on screen, or just me? Sounds like you have synesthesia, which is super cool if you do. I get more synesthesia when I'm high. Like after I smoke, sometimes. I almost get like visualizations in my brain when I listen to music. Like my brain will just start filming music videos in my brain when I listen to music when I'm high. So that's super cool. Hi, Switzerland. Do budget eats. I'm sorry, guys. I'm like, the more I think about it, yes, I can do budget eats someday. Not today. Someday. But it'll be a different budget eats. I'm a very different person. We've all been through a lot in the last 5 years, have we not? And, I think a part of me just feels like if I ever revive budget eats videos again, at least 40% of you will be severely disappointed because it just won't have the same vibe anymore. Because I just don't have the same vibe anymore, you know? Hi, Valeria. Doesn't Delish own the budget eats? It's their intellectual property. I can't ever call it budget eats, but I don't think they can really stop me from cooking in that format. Like, that's literally how I cooked my entire life. I think that's why that show felt so appetizing to a lot of folks, because like that's really how I cooked. Did I ham it up for the camera? For sure. Like, I think I hammed it up 15 to 25% depending on the day and the dish. Certainly I wouldn't have exerted so much energy on making, you know, tortilla chips out of whatever bean mush I made the previous day. That was mostly for camera, but those ideas were always swirling inside me. I just never had the intentional motivation to actually carry through with spending 3 hours to make something really crazy. But with that show, it gave me a reason to actually manifest some of the ideas that I had always brainstormed as curiosity points. And so, yeah, I mean, maybe I'll have to make content creation to stay alive soon if you know, if I need other sources of income. But we'll see. Who knows? The world is kind of burning up. I don't know what we're going to be able to do for income soon. It seems like unemployment is up. Daisuke actually just told me that unemployment for July was really, really bad. And apparently Trump fired the Department of Labor head because he gave Trump the statistic that unemployment was really bad in July. And like, I guess Trump didn't like that it was really high in July. So he just, you're fired, you know? So, I don't know, guys. Everything's a little bit wacky. I think just trying to emotionally regulate myself so that I don't spill everywhere. Like, I hung out with friends this week and I just, like, I cracked I wasn't comfortable with something that was said, not to my friend's fault. I just personally wasn't comfortable with what was being said, and I was also tired, and I just spilled. I like acted out, you know? And thankfully my friends, I guess, are understanding enough that they didn't like totally cut me off, but like I had a meltdown in front of them. I basically got really loud and really combative and like started nitpicking at everything and basically being very aggressive and attacky, and like that was not okay. I was not proud of myself in that moment at all. I was very ashamed. And I apologized on the spot to one of them, and I explained myself the day after to a few of them. But it's just like, I know that I'm already like, you don't feel it, it's not conscious, but we're all trying so hard to hold ourselves together right now. You know? We're stressed. So any one thing can just make us like, and at least speaking for myself, that's what it feels like some days. And I think August is a particularly hard time for me because I think August is when my annual grief wave starts riding up. So yeah, I'm not conscious of all the stuff that's like fucking around inside, but they're in there. They're just ramming around, and if they all get heightened at the right moment together simultaneously, I can have a breakdown right then and there. Hi, Namibia. Yeah, I would love to take you guys to farmers markets and grocers if they allow me to film. I I will say in the past 2 years I've started to notice a wane across the board in interest in even going into grocery stores, whereas before every time I saw a grocery store I'd be like, ooh, let's go inside, let's look, let's not even shop, just window shop and maybe buy. And it would be like so joyful for me. And I think across the board my joy has tanked. And I'm not complaining, that's just an observation. I think it's rightfully so that my joy has tanked, because there is a lot less to be joyful about, at least on the surface. I'm not saying there's no joy in the world. I'm just saying like it's very hard to integrate joy as immediately as it used to be, because there's just so much sadness and anger and frustration and trauma and like torture in the world that's very present and top of mind and unavoidable. So there's like an influx of information, and there's a traffic jam, and there's a lot more sadness and heaviness coming in than there is joy. But I think that's okay. I think it's just this like really tough season of humanity being super ugly right now. And I have an optimistic core that we will live through this. As we do, we will be transformed by it. The people who are suffering, goddamn, I don't know what to say, you know, like I don't know what to do. But I hope the suffering will end soon, one way or another. But I think it's just like, this is just a really tough stage of us being super ugly, and depending on what we choose to do with the information that we keep learning, we'll keep being uglier and uglier, or we'll find a way to tame it and rebalance it. But all of that is a group project. It's up to us individually and collectively. So I don't have extreme despair and hopelessness. I just have the privilege of being able to observe it for right now, because I'm not in the thick of suffering and torture right now. But who's to say? It may spread faster than we have ever anticipated it spreading if things continue the way they do. Just like how the world is getting hotter every year, consistently. Hi Hi, Pakistan. Thank you for being my fan. I am fans of all of my fans. The fact that you guys are like still here, amazing. Troopers, truly. All right, sorry. I needed to take a sip because I am tired. And what are we at now battery-wise? 29%. I'm going to attempt to plug you in, okay? So we're going to follow the protocol of hoping that the phone doesn't overheat when I plug it in today. It is quite hot right now. But if we do overheat and the live does shut off, I will try to come back on this live, and you can stay glued to the chat box to see if I manage to do that successfully. And if I don't, I'll start a new live, and we'll just have to see how long my phone lasts on that new live or the old live. But thank you for joining me. If we do crap out, it was a delight to see you nonetheless. We're gonna cook the quinoa. It's really funny watching a clown show happen in real time, but it's not, because people are dying. But maybe this is like nature telling us to not take ourselves so seriously. Maybe we're not really worth all that much. Maybe human life is just a blip and a snowflake meant to be melted as soon as it falls from the sky. As soon as we're born, we're destined to die. I feel like that's the top line cognitive dissonance for me as a human being too, is like, if you know that we're gonna die, as a parent, what motivates you to give birth to a child? Knowing that you're inevitably sending them to their death in a lot of ways. It's funny, right? And then we spend our entire lives trying to make sure that like we live as healthy and long as possible, knowing that inevitably we will die. Especially coming from my own mom, who like did everything in her power to make sure I don't like befall any ill fate, even though the illest fate is waiting for me at the end. And this was a cognitive dissonance that I noticed that she couldn't resolve with taking care of my grandmother either. Like she was trying to force my grandmother to eat vegetables, even when my grandmother was like 93. And I was like, Mom, just let her eat whatever she wants. And then my mom would be like, well, no, but then she's going to get sick, and then it's going to get more complicated for me to take care of her if she's like constipated and sick. And I'm just like, but she's going to get sick. She's going to get sicker, and then she's going to die. Like, I just want to know, are people thinking about the price of things before they sign up to own them? Because the price of having children is that they will die. Like, I guess if you're lucky, they'll die after you die, but that's not a guarantee. It's a gamble. Everything's a gamble. I had an ex try to like preemptively say that, you know, he's afraid he's gonna hurt me, not physically, emotionally. And at that point I was just like, but falling in love and being in a relationship is a gamble. Like, you're probably gonna get hurt. One of us is probably gonna get hurt if this doesn't work out. And chances are it's probably not gonna work out, because most relationships probably don't work out, just statistically speaking. So that's something that's like very puzzling for me. Are we being honest with ourselves on that front, is my question. To be a parent is to play the lottery, not with money, but with a life. And that's not a gamble I'm willing to take. I don't want to do that. Hi, UK. Okay. I'm going to... There's tea in this pot. I'm going to put it in a jar, put it in the fridge, and then I'm going to use this to cook our tofu. First, I need to put my vegetables away. Gonna wash my grapes in here. Oh yeah, there are some bad grapes. I guess that's why it was $1. Crunchy green grapes. Not too sweet. I like them. Just one bunch that had a few moldy ones. As you can see, not too many casualties, just like 10. Maybe more, maybe 12, 13. Gosh, we're still live. And the phone is charging, but overheating a little bit. So maybe I unplug you for a little bit. Yes, there are some thrifted plates. They're not new though. I put some water on the boil. This is firm tofu that wasn't as firm as I wanted it to be. So I froze it and then I defrosted it. So the texture changed into a more porous texture. Right now I'm gonna open up the package, I'm gonna drain out the liquid, and I'm gonna like press the tofu with my palm so that it squeezes out most of the water. And then we're gonna boil it, and then we're gonna chunk it, and then we're gonna toss it with spices, and it's gonna be delicious and ready for us in the fridge, but I'll probably eat it all in one day, which is probably not great because there's 5 servings per container. Which means per container there's 400 calories, 30% total fat, 25% saturated fat, 5% sodium, that's not bad. 20% of dietary fiber and 40 grams of protein. Not bad, actually. You could eat this whole package in one day. It wouldn't be terrible. Wouldn't be the worst thing ever. I just do this while it's still in the package, while I like carved out 2 sides of the label so I can peel it back. But while it's still in place, I just press it and I get all the water out. Spongy. So then I just boil it like this I didn't squeeze out enough water, but I just boil it like this so that I cook the tofu, and then I squeeze out the water more, and then I put dressing on it so that it soaks up all the dressing. So if you ever think that tofu is flavorless, if you give it this treatment, it'll soak up all the flavor. You just have to flavor it right. That's on you, bro. That ain't the tofu's fault. Grapes overboard. Grapes overboard. $1, not bad. I already watched the other half of this, but this huge container of grapes was $2. I don't know why grapes are so cheap this summer. It's very sus. I've been seeing so many waves of cheap grapes. What's happening? What am I actually eating? Is this a simulation? And because raspberries spoil super fast, we're also going to wash these since I bought this one for 79 cents. Apparently from Hippie Organics, whatever that means. They look fine. But clearly one of them is not fine. Yes, I hear you. Instant Pot is done. We're going to unplug that. Let it cool. We're gonna wash our raspberries. Inspect them. Throw out what we got to. Probably should have checked these yesterday when I bought them. But we have sacrificed 7 raspberries. Although the rest of them look perfectly fine. Okay, our tofu's up to a boil. That's great. We'll let that go for 4 minutes. Our quinoa is looking really nice and cooked, so I think we'll turn that off in 4 minutes as well. And all that remains is our soy chicken. They're okay. I mean, they were 79 cents. Actually not bad, but I'm starting to see some sus raspberries. So, gonna steer clear of the sus ones. I like this one. They're hiding. Raspberries are always so hard I don't think I've bought a single container with like all great raspberries. They either get banged up or they're moldy or something. Which makes me think maybe this is a fruit that shouldn't be packaged and shipped. Maybe we should just eat them where they grow. Turning those off, letting that sit. It really expands a little bit. You probably can't see, but they're fatter blocks now that they've bloated with the boiling water. Chunkier. So that's how much flavor they can take on. Just gotta treat them like the sponge that they are. Okay. We're gonna move the quinoa to a heat-proof container, and then we're gonna use that one to stir fry our soy chicken. Mom's Pyrex. Thanks, Mom. Probably could have let this sit in the pot a little bit longer so that the heat distribution was more perfect and there's no remnants and stickiness and mushiness and all that, but I want to get this cooking done. Probably not smart to rush though, because you can see it's still stuck on the bottom. And the best way for it to get unstuck is to let it sit. So we'll let it sit while we prep our stuff, our other stuff. Some things you just can't rush. With the soy chicken, we're gonna rinse it because instructions say we should, so we will. I didn't do it the first time, I didn't die, but not recommended. For those of you who have not seen these before, they're just slices of tofu, basically. Firm. Or at least that's what I think they are. Who knows what they are? This is tofu the same way that McDonald's chicken nuggets are chicken. You know what I mean? You just don't know. There's chicken in there, but is it chicken? This is the price to pay for impatience. We continue with it nonetheless. I will start it on very, very low heat. I'll add a little bit of my oil, my chili crisp oil. And by a little bit, I mean probably a very healthy tablespoon. And always do this with your chili oil if you're pouring out of it. Just clean it because it will leak a little bit. No memo citing yet. Turn it down very, very low. I'm gonna go in with my cumin and coriander. Bloom some spices. What else did I put in the other one? Oh yeah, a dash of ginger. A little bit of smoked paprika. Black pepper. Oh yeah, let's put some turmeric in here. Haven't used turmeric today at all yet. What's up with that? Okay. We stir this around a little bit. Then I'm going to go in with some of my cabbage and remaining leeks so that the pot doesn't burn dry while I cut up my tofu chunks. I'm going to dump this tofu water. So that we can squeeze it out once it's a little cooler. And this is our, rinsed pieces. I'm going to slice them a little bit smaller. Maybe into thirds. Oh God. I think this one will get a little bit of dill and parsley in. A little bit of hoisin in here. A little bit of chili crisp itself. a little bit of black sesame seeds. Wonder if there's anything fishy I can add in here. Bonito flakes, maybe? That would be interesting. Maybe I'll just add the bonito flakes per serving. That's hot. I'm gonna see if I can use the tofu liquid to act as cooking liquid in here. This is just for fun. I don't know why I'm doing this. Why am I doing anything? Could be some minute tofu flavor coming through the water though. Bringing it full circle. The broth from the tofu is helping me lift off some of the spices and the quinoa stuck on the bottom of the pot. Hopefully that little bit of residue quinoa will also turn into starch. That'll help coat the sauciness in this dish a little bit better around the soy chicken parts. not the lid. That's the lid. Okay. We turn our attention now to the tofu. I also need to check if you need to be charged in, and you do. Gonna wash my hands because we're about to break this tofu up with our hands. You can use a knife to cut it, but hand broken frozen tofu bits will have more craggly bits, more texture. It'll be funner to eat, more rustic. Sort of like how you tear bread up for panzanella with your hands rather than cutting it. Extra juicing action now that it's cool enough to handle. So that's the texture of what it looks like now. Pretty sturdy, but very cavernous, and the more uneven the surface, I feel like the funner the eating experience, but it's up to you and your desired textures. I wonder if you'll be able to hear the sound if I get close enough to the camera, but it's actually it's a very interesting, fun sound. It's like very, very foamy. The liquid that I'm squeezing out is probably more flavorful than just water because it looks milky. I'm gonna guess I'm juicing the tofu right now. You heard it here first, folks. Tofu juice. You can juice tofu. Okay, so this is 1 pound of tofu, frozen, defrosted, blanched, squeezed dried, and torn to pieces. Now we will coat it with spices. But first I must get rid of this cutting board. It is stressing me out. Alright, gochujang time. Since I do not have fresh ginger, I'm going to skip it, and I'm just going to do a little bit of black pepper maybe. And I'm just going to try to distribute the gochujang as evenly as possible in our tofu pieces before I give it a nice little sesame oil drizzle. And then it's gonna sit in the fridge and it's gonna be so delicious tomorrow, the day after, if it lasts that long. I can eat it with my bitter melon. I can eat it with my cabbage mush that we can take a look at soon. My mouth is watering. My mouth is watering. Okay. I need to try the okra pickles while you guys are here. Remind me, please. Remind me. Because the tofu soaks up the oil so immediately, that's another reason why I want to let it sit overnight before I eat it, because I want the oils and the condiments to kind of redistribute themselves over time a little bit. Right now they're just hitting the spot and getting soaked right in to wherever I'm dropping them. But tomorrow they'll be a little more evenly pieced out. Doesn't mean I can't taste it right now, though. I certainly can. And I will. Mm-hmm. Yum. Beautiful. Gonna turn this off. Gonna eat a raspberry because I'm overwhelmed. Gonna throw away some trash. I'll BRB. I think Memo might be hiding in the closet. This is a thrifted plate, which is clear, which I love because I use it as a lid. And it's a great lid because I can stack something else on top of it if it's flat enough. So I love it. Mm-hmm. Let us turn our attention to our Instant Pot. At which point we can now add in a little bit of caraway. It smells very seaweedy. And there is quite a bit of liquid in here, as you can see over there. So what I'm gonna do, is add cornstarch to thicken it. It's my go-to move. Oh, and I should also add some TVP, right? Yes. Where you at? Where you at, TVP? Textured vegetable protein. Yet another soy product. So I definitely won't be soy protein deficient this week as opposed to meat protein, not sure. And I'll also add something else in here actually. Gonna add in some negi scallions. And a little bit of tomato powder for extra umami. Mix that in before we go in with our cornstarch. I got so much Bob's Red Mill cornstarch because I was making dumplings for Grandma and the dough from scratch. And now I'm not making that anymore. But I am making this. You can never have too much cornstarch in your pantry. Shit is useful, especially if you like that sticky Chinese restaurant saucy like gravy vibe. Cornstarch is great for that. I do think 16 minutes in the Instant Pot is like such overkill for cabbage, unfortunately. So, sorry, I'm gonna have to move you for a little bit. Hi. I'm reaching for another bag of TVP. So I think we're gonna need a little more substance in here. That looks good. TVP is great as a ground meat substitute, so this is kind of like cabbage, ground beef, mush. Here you go. This is my mush for the week. Glorious and beautiful. I just wanted to move it away from the phone because it was very hot as a unit. Okay. Beautiful. That was like one head of cabbage cooked way down. It was like up to here. Basically got halved. Yay. Look at us charging. Here's the baking powder, or yeah, baking powder, and then 3 bags of cornstarch. Remnants of remnants of remnants. Echoes of the past. I'm just gonna refill my container here because it is way more convenient to use. Check out the spoon. Did I show you the spoon that I thrifted? Look at how cool the spoon is. Wow. I love the spoon so much. I haven't used it yet, so. So now that I've run out of hair to cut, I've started cutting my jeans. I've been cutting some jeans that I haven't worn in years, possibly ever since I purchased them, because maybe they just gotta be transformed first before they actually fit me. So that's something that I've been spending my time on. Playing, I suppose you could say. What a luxury to be able to play. I hope that was fun. Unfortunately, this does not seal again, does it? Yes, you sealed? Oh, thank God. Thank God. Sometimes the bags don't seal, and those bags truly break my heart. Alright folks, let's eat. I have some leftover canned salmon that both me and Memo tried to eat this week. I mean, I ate it. He didn't. And then I want to try, oh my gosh. My phone tells me I'm flipped. Hi. Hi. No? Okay. Well, it doesn't want me to be horizontal. I don't know why. I don't know what I did, but it looks like it's working now. Here's the okra that we pickled last week. I haven't tasted this yet. Let's taste it with my beautiful fork. I taught myself how to make dumplings too. That was amazing. That was during the middle of the pandemic, and they were like, "Can you make dumplings?" And I was like, I'm not that Chinese." But it turns out I sure can make dumplings. And I sure did make dumplings. All right. Slimy pickling, like, luscious. Look at that. That is art. Look at the way it bounces back as it drips. It drips, and then there's, I'm waiting for you to drip. Wow, what a cliffhanger. What a little tease. Drip, drip. Oh, okay. Okay, okay. I like it. You gotta learn how to like slime. It's really good for you, you know? Slime is good for your cholesterol, your heart, your blood, your body. Don't be selfish. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean your body doesn't. Have you ever considered your body? Or have you only been considering yourself? I'm gonna add a little bit of Burberry powder, which is kind of like my favorite chili powder now. It's like not too spicy. It's got a little bit of smokiness. It adds this delightfully red color that you can't see because I'm eating this out of a covered jar, but I'm just mostly trying to use up the salmon, clear out my fridge of leftovers. Pickled okra and canned salmon. What a trash meal. Did I give you a spoon fetish? Oh my God, look at me influencing people. People telling me they have jar collections now that their partners fight them over. Now I just gave you a spoon fetish. Look at this charisma. It's really just going to waste. I could be dominating the world. I could be putting like a $2 million wealth cap. I can't say what I'm gonna do to the people who have over $2 million, but you know. You know. You know what's gonna happen to the people who have over $2 million. They're either gonna give up their money, or they're gonna give up their money. Let me read your comments. What a delightful time. The desire for legacy can be huge, yeah. Yeah. Legacy is not for me. Like, legacy is the relationships I'm building in real time while I'm alive. And then after I'm dead, compost. That's it. That's what's beauty about nature. We love nature. We love going hiking, right? We love going hiking, especially when the fall foliage comes in. And what is the fall foliage, if not leaves dying every year? So death can be beautiful. But when our ego overtakes our entire lens of what existence is and infiltrates us with so much more fear and dread than joy and appreciation of being in the moment, we can't really intake any of the beautiful sights of dying. We could be dying so differently. We just built a society that prohibits that from happening. Thank you for the reminder on the phone battery. You are currently at 40% and pretty hot, but I think we can go a little bit longer. I mean, my lunches and dinners are always like this. If you think this is wild, girl, you ain't seen nothing yet. At least I threw out the moldy olives. The cabbage has cabbage, leeks, a lot of spices, some, whatchamacallit, hoisin sauce. That's it. I had a TVP in there at the end. Is that one of the things that Aaron bought you? No, I don't think so. The spoon? The spoon I bought myself. What are you talking about? Is it another camping spoon? Somebody told me it reminded them of a military spoon. On the back of it, it says Lauffer, Lauffer, trademark, circle, 18/8, Japan. So there you go, if any of you want to look that up. Oh, whoa, I missed out so many comments. Sorry, going up. Going up. Ooh, attending an anime convention in New York City in August at the Javits Center. Yeah, no, I don't know hotels prices, but I can tell you that my coworker stayed at a hotel nearby. I don't know what the price is though. It is very close to the Javits Center. Let me see if I can remember it from memory because I don't have it bookmarked. I don't know what your... Wow, there's a cluster of them across 4 streets, right around 35th Street and 39th Street. That's a lot. Arlo Midtown has $155 rooms, apparently. But no, they all seem very expensive. Sorry. Raspberries do freeze well, but I like the flavor of them when they're not frozen. There's like this floral perfume that kind of gets muted when they're frozen. A lot of flavors get muted when they're frozen, which is why I like freezing grapes. Because grapes, especially the cheap conventional ones, don't have a lot of secondary flavor notes. So they're just mostly a textural ice cube for me, with a little bit of sugar and glucose. Raspberry salt, interesting. Rufio vibe, okay. I can get down with Rufio vibes. I will take you guys to see Memo hopefully in 15 minutes or so after I'm done eating. If the battery's still going. I'm gonna add a little bit of, there's a little bit of salmon left with juices. I think it's gonna go great with quinoa, so let's try it. Yep, quinoa clumps into a ball when you don't let it sit after steaming undisturbed. Highly recommend you be more patient than I was today. Getting all that juice and dressing. We just need a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of Burberry, just 2 spices. Changes the whole vibe. Now, I'm gonna add just a dash of balsamic. I love eating like this because it teaches me about flavor, right? Just small bites. But then I can keep adding condiments to it to see how each additional ingredient changes the overall flavor. So I don't have to like experiment with a whole pot of cooking. I can just see what happens without committing to a huge batch of food. Pretty good. I wish I had a little bit of sugar in here. So we can add a little drizzle of honey and see what that does. Vinegar, honey, Burberry black pepper, salmon. Okay, that's pretty good. Wow. The honey cinched it for sure. Okay. Great experiment. Now, we turn our attention to our tofu stir fry. Ooh, that berbere is spicy. There's a little bit of extra juice in here. Let's stir in a little bit of cornstarch in here too. Oh God, that was a lot of cornstarch. Oops. Probably way too much cornstarch, but smells good. Smells very leaky. Very leaky. I'm not sure about the seasoning on this tofu yet, so we really have to taste it and adjust it. I'm gonna let this cool. I have a text I have to check. I'm so sorry. Give me a second. Wow. What is this? So weird. Spam, oh, you can't see, it's backwards. Spam is starting to use like all these weird characters, like L's that have a slash through them, an S with a accent tail underneath. Like, what are these weird, oh gosh. All of our lives is just becoming spam, spam, spam. Yikes. Okay. Sorry for neglecting you. Okay. Really great texture. This is probably the best batch texture-wise. The flavor is kind of like a smoked tofu flavor. Not too spicy, not very pronounced, probably because I didn't use gochujang, but I didn't want to like double over gochujang and everything. I think this will be really nice with the cabbage mush, which has similar flavor profiles, but slightly more herbs. That's what it looks like inside. That was the soy chicken nuggets. It's not chicken, it's just soy. Shaped like a chicken nugget, I guess. Okay, time to try our cabbage mush. Everything that I make is so appetizing looking, isn't it? Isn't it? And I'm eating out of a sauerkraut jar. Isn't that just so beautiful? Okay. Definitely not as tasty as last time's for sure. Whatever I did last time was so much better. Probably we're lacking the celery. I think the celery provided so much more herbaceous fragrance and creaminess. Unfortunately, we just don't have that. But it's not bad. I think once it cools a little bit, the flavors will melt into each other a little bit more. It is spicy. Not painfully so, but definitely feeling it. I think what I will do, I will add nutritional yeast in here. But before I do it to the entire batch, I will do it on my tester batch. But I think the nutritional yeast might make it creamier, nuttier, just all around more wholesomely delicious. Nutritional yeast is really great for rounding out creaminess, umami-ness. Even in sweet smoothies, sometimes I feel like it does something to the overall flavor. Just makes it more cohesive. Okay, you know what? I like the effect of it. I don't want it in the whole batch, so I'm glad we tested it here. I think if I do want the nutritional yeast, I'm just gonna add it as I eat it. Adding a little quinoa, adding a little soy chicken chunk. I'm glad I have food for the next like 5 days though. Don't have to cook. Perfect. I don't know what gogudon is. Trisha asked this a while ago. What does gogudon taste like? Could you crisp it up in the oven? I have no idea what that is. Is that an ingredient that I used? Oh, gochujang. If you meant gochujang, well, you certainly can't crisp it up in the oven. Maybe that's referring to another thing. Gochujang is a sweet Korean chili paste. So it's sweet, it's salty, it's spicy, it's sticky, absolutely delicious. One of my all-time go-to condiments for sure. I made a mistake here by adding cornstarch because you have to cook cornstarch. If you don't cook cornstarch, it tastes pasty. And now that shit tastes pasty. ketchup to here. Don't ask me why. It's just because I love ketchup. I wanted it a little bit sweeter. I don't want it too spicy because everything else is already a little bit spicy. And I'm hoping this can bring the flavor to be less pasty. I actually don't think it's the cornstarch I don't think it's just the cornstarch that's making it taste pasty. I think for sure the cornstarch is adding to the pastiness, but I think maybe the turmeric was a mistake in here. Turmeric really just doesn't really go with a lot of East Asian flavors. I keep trying to put it into my cooking, but I think I should stop. Sometimes. I think it has its place, but not here. Did I add tomato powder in the cabbage? Is that where I added it? Hot. All right, that should do it. Anyway, hi. I would like to take you to see Memo. Let's see if we can find the boy. Let's see if he's willing to see us. He spilled catnip all over the bed today after I just did laundry like 2 days ago. That was fun. A raspberry for the road. Hi, babes. Let me get my underwear out of here. That was a little accidental OnlyFans teaser. Babes, you want a lolly? Bye, Kathy. Thank you. Hope you have a good one, too. Oh, he's drooling. He's drooling on my hand. Oh my gosh. Major drools. Drools. Bro. Putting his whole body into it. There you go. Take a sip. You're drooling so hard, bro. Catching a puddle in my hand here. Yeah. You want to take a bite? You want to take a bite? And there's just like a column, like a cylinder. Oh my gosh, dude, why are you drooling so much, bro? Okay. You still have pieces. Gotta go wash my hands. I'm allergic to cat. I'm gonna leave him to his feast. I hope you enjoyed the moment with Memo. Wow, okay, folks, we survived a 3-hour live, so I guess maybe it was actually the backwards camera that caused the issue, the overheating issue. It certainly didn't help. Yeah, I wish there was a way to not have you see the mirror image. I don't know what took place in the last 6 months, but I was live streaming on this forever, and it must have been the newest software update or something that flipped the mirror image. Because I had always been using the... Whoa! Almost just fell. I had always been using the front camera, and it's never been flipped until this year, so IDK what happened. But I'm glad we survived. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you have a great week, and I hope you stay hydrated. Oh, vitamins! Did you eat your vitamins? Eat your vitamins. But yeah, you know, all of those things. Remember, you gotta take care of yourself as best as you can. Okay, bye folks. Have a great week, and I don't know, I hope you have some weird dreams. Your assignment for next week is to show up with weird dreams. I want to hear all about your weird dreams. Save them.